today we are going to do a lesson on hypothesis writing. First of all, do either of you know what a hypothesis is?
A little bit.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of experience.
You don't have a lot of experience?
No.
All right. So we're going to learn about that today. We begin writing our hypothesis by finding a question. An example of a question would be, what happens to my heart when I run? Do you guys have any other ideas of possible experimental questions?
Why do dogs bark?
I was thinking of a dog one too.
What dog one were you thinking of?
Something about the heart rate of dog.
The heart rate of a dog when it runs? That would be interesting to
Right.
compare the heart rate of humans versus the heart rate of a dog.
Yeah.
But when we're writing our hypotheses, it's going to be our prediction or guess on what's going to happen in that scenario or in that question. So when we're writing a hypothesis, we use an if-then statement. Do you guys have any experience using if-then statements?
Yeah.
In programming.
In programming? Wow. So expert of you. The first step to writing an if-then statement is identifying your independent and dependent variables. Theoretically, this is already a lesson we have covered, so we know the difference between the two. But if we are writing one about my earlier example, what happens when a runner runs around a track, what would we use as our independent variable?
Like weather?
Well, first, how about we predict what we think is going to happen in this scenario? What happens to your heart when you run?
We think it'll speed up.
You think your heart rate will speed up?
Yes.
Okay. So if our prediction is that the heart rate will speed up when we run, what would be the independent variable? The independent variable in this case would be distance. So how far the runner runs or the amount of time the runner is spending running. Then given that, what would be the dependent variable?
The heart rate.
The heart rate, exactly. So I'm going to write these in.
Heart rate or decrease in heart rate. Relative increase.
So I find it helpful to use one of these tables when writing our hypotheses, because then it simplifies all the components so we can put it together in concise English. Do either of you have an idea on what the full sentence would look like?
If the runner runs a certain distance, then it will have an increased heart rate.
Exactly, exactly. I think that we could make it even easier by defining the amount that the runner runs. So in this case, maybe they run around a track once, so then we would say if the runner runs around a track, then they will have increased heart rate before and after. So we have made our experimental hypothesis, and we would be able to move on to the next step of creating a procedure and then finally testing the experiment. I've made up a little helpful jingle that might be a little bit familiar to both of you. I've set it to the tune of this song, if you've ever heard it, the "Over the River and Through the Woods to Grandmother's House We Go." How would we make that part of the song, that lyric, into a hypothesis?
Interesting. I don't know.
What would be our independent variable in getting to grandmother's house?
The distance?
Well, yes. So going over the river and through the woods. So
Right.
if we, maybe it'd be more helpful if I had we right before it, but if we,
So if
Go.
we go over the river and through the woods, that's our independent variable?
yes.
Okay.
So this section is going to be our independent variable. And then the dependent variable is making it to grandmother's house.
If we
Right.
go over the river and through the woods.
Okay, I get it.
Then to grandmother's house we go. So-
So it is
The jingle then would be,
result.
if you guys want to sing it with me, the jingle would be, if we go over the river and through the woods, then to grandmother's house we go. So now that tune will be stuck in your head forever, and you will always be able to remember how to write a hypothesis for your experiments.
Wow.
All right. Thank you for attending my lesson.
Alright, turn it off.
Okay.
That was good. I obviously did